Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to have a look at a bunch of other new cards which are coming around from Pokémon Card 151. The reveals from this set are coming thick and fast. We are getting reveals pretty regularly for this. I'm very excited. You should also, if I could say so, be pretty gosh darned excited. So let's go and have a little bit of a look at some new cards, starting off with the lovely Ninetales EX. Usual deal here, translations from myself, but checked with the lovely Antoine Boulet to make sure I've not gone and done a silly. So Ninetales EX then, what do we got? Well, what we've got here is rather lovely Kawaii artwork, which makes me very happy. And then we've got 260 HP, which for a Stage 1 EX is fine, not particularly great, it's fine. And then we've got single energy, 30 damage plus burn. And it's not that I don't like 30 damage plus burn. I do like 30 damage plus burn. What I don't like is 30 damage plus burn on a Stage 1 Pokemon. That's what I don't like. And it's basically as simple as that. I just don't particularly like this card. It's just a bit rubbish. Like this attack, I mean. Single energy, bit of damage plus burn, I can absolutely get behind if you're telling me we're talking about a basic Pokemon. Because turn 1, going second, okay, fine. But if you're telling me it's on a Stage 1, nah, I'm not in, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. But 1 fire, 1 colourless, 80 damage, if you have the same number of cards in hand as your opponent, this attack does 140 more damage. And this I can actually genuinely get behind. Because the big thing with this is, well, you're hitting a key number. You're hitting a key number because 220 is a key number. That is, generally speaking, the amount you need to do to KO Pokemon V. And it's only 2 energy, which means that all I need to do here is use my Magma Basin, that's the one I'm looking for, and if I use Magma Basin, I am rolling here, I've got the energy, we are good to go. What's the problem? And the problem here, very simply, is it's a bit awkward. It's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's just a little bit awkward. And it really is as simple as that. We still have Judge in the format, that's absolutely still a thing. So we can use Judge to try and make sure that we've got, everything we need here. That's rather lovely, in terms of matching hand sizes with our opponents. And there's other draw cards that we can use which are going to get us there pretty easily. An early game Iono will put both players down to 6 cards, for instance. My point here is that it's a Stage 1, and then you need Magma Basin, and then you need something like this, and it just ends up being a little bit awkward. It is not the end of the world, and I do think there is a bit of potential with this second attack, not the first one, but I do think there is a little bit of potential here with this second attack, where you can basically, turn 2, start hitting for 220 regularly. I don't think it's a phenomenal card, and I don't think that is unfair to say. But I do think this second attack has a little bit of potential, so let's go ahead and give this one between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. Not a bad card, but not an amazing card either. Now, one card which has given me flashbacks, and not in a good way, is the new Weezing. Weezing has what I have often described as the worst ability we have ever seen in the history of the Pokemon trading card game. And no, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this. This is an ability that I just absolutely despise. Some of you are going to recognize it and remember it from Gengar way back in the day. It's that ability. It's Fainting Spell. It is when you get a KO on my Pokemon in this case being Weezing, flip a coin. If heads, as in the person with Weezing flips a coin, if heads, the attacking Pokemon is also knocked out. Now, I've always been opposed to this ability generally. We have, to be fair, we've had it since Gengar, and it's not been as good. But Gengar, it was absolutely, like, full-on busted. The problem with this is that, generally speaking, the player attacking into Weezing is probably putting in more effort into getting a KO, but then if Weezing flips heads, they just get a KO as well. It is an immensely annoying and frustrating ability, and I'm just not convinced it's particularly fair. I don't really like this ability. I don't like the idea that one player can just spend all this time and effort and resources getting a good attacker going, and then they've got their good attacker, and then they get a KO, and they've really earned that KO, and then their opponent's just like, ha, I flipped heads. And that's it. Like, they flip heads, and then all of a sudden, they've got just as much of a benefit, except it might actually be more of a benefit, because obviously we're talking here about a single prize Pokemon. So, if we're talking about a single prize Pokemon, then that means if a double prize Pokemon attacks into it, or 2 or 3 prize Pokemon, because we have 3 prize Pokemon now, if that happens, then actually we end up in this absurd situation where somebody puts in a lot of effort with a multiple prize Pokemon, KOs Weezing, gets 1 prize, the Weezing player flips heads, and then takes 2 prizes. I'm not a fan of this ability, frankly. However, if you want to really annoy your opponent, brilliant, you totally can. As for the attack, it's 2 energy, 50 damage, plus 10 to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It can't have a really good attack, because the ability is too good. If you had this ability, and then you combined it with a ridiculously good attack as well, that would be absurd and ridiculous, and it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. So I like that they are kind of bringing it down a little bit here, and that makes me happy. But please bear in mind, this is it's a horrible ability. As for the coughing, we've seen that as well. It's 2 energy, 20 damage, plus confusion. It's fine, but yeah. And I will say the Shibuzo artwork is lovely, and I know a lot of people are going to love it, and they blummin' well should. Now, we are getting a new Spearow and a new Pharaoh here, and it is a 2-card combo, I warn you. But actually, if you're willing to put in the work for the combo, it's actually really pretty good. You see, Spearow's got Evolutionary Advantage. That is the one that says, if you go second, this Pokemon can evolve during your first turn. Now, it's very important to note, this is only if you go second. If you go first, this ability basically does absolutely nothing. You've got to go second in order to make this worth it. You have been warned. But when you go second, you get your Spearow, you immediately evolve into Pharaoh, and you start rolling. Now, Pharaoh's single energy 50 is fine, but the general rule here is you need to be hitting up to 70 to get most evolving Pokemon, so I'm just not loving this. I've made this point before. With a Vitality Band, I want to be getting up and hitting 70. If I can hit 70 with a Vitality Band, I am in. If I can't, I start losing interest pretty quickly. And the problem I've got here is, with a Vitality Band, I hit 60. That's not so good. So I don't like it for the second attack. Yes, I know you can get this rolling turn 1 going second. Yes, I know it's a single colorless energy, which makes it very easy energy-wise. But with a Vitality Band, I'm not hitting 70, so I lose interest. But I do like the other attack. Because the other attack on Pharaoh, again, for just a single colorless energy, lets me search my deck for up to 3 cards, put them in my hand, and shuffle my deck. Oh. Yeah, no, I'm in on that one. That sounds good. That sounds really good. Like, really, really good. So, that's basically where we are with Pharaoh. That's what you want to know. If you're going for Pharaoh, that's essentially where we are here. What you need to do is you need to get your Spearow, you evolve, you whack an energy, you search any free cards, and then in theory, you've got like everything you need to keep you rolling through the game. Like, in theory, those free cards are going to make it so much easier for you to just go through the game and win. However, and I do think this is extremely important, Iono is a thing now. And Iono is going to see a redonkulous amount of play. Please bear that in mind when you're using cards like Pharaoh, because you're going to go and search any free cards, and your opponent is going to want to shuffle your hand, give you a new hand, take away that advantage you got from searching with Pharaoh. But with every deck playing multiple Iono now, that is going to be easier than it's ever been before. You have been warned. Let's go ahead and give this one 3 Wossies, and we'll go ahead and give Weezing 4 Wossies, which I think might be a little bit over the top. But I don't know, I just hate that ability. And the last one we're going to be talking about today is a very interesting one. It's actually Gloom. And I'm fully aware that Gloom is a Stage 1 Pokemon that has an evolution. So, for that reason, we probably shouldn't be worrying too much about it. Because generally speaking, we want to get to the Stage 2 and see what's going on. I'm making an exception for Gloom, because Gloom could be absolutely brilliant because of Vileplume. You see, a couple of weeks ago, or I don't know, a while ago, I showed you Vileplume. And I told you that Vileplume lets you look at the top 8 cards of your deck, find as many basic energy as you like, and attach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like. It's ridiculous, but it's a Stage 2. And that was the problem. Getting all the way up to a Stage 2 wasn't really good enough. It was going to end up being too awkward. We needed something in between. And go back and check the video I did on Vileplume. Because when I did the video about Vileplume, I told you that we knew Gloom had an ability. We'd already seen that. And if Gloom just had a powered down version of this ability, then that would change my thinking about Vileplume. It has a powered down version, and it has changed my thinking. The ability here says, when you play this card from your hand of one of your Pokemon, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy you find to your Pokemon in any way that you like. And now I've got both of these cards in front of me. I feel very different about this. Because essentially what happens is that you play your Gloom, you look at the top 3 cards, and you hopefully get an energy. It's not going to be amazing, but hopefully you'll get kind of 1 energy, maybe like 2 on a really good day, and every couple of tournaments there'll be 1 game where you hit 3 energy and you feel like the best player in the world. But then you go up to your Vileplume. And once you get your Vileplume, that kind of changes everything. Because now you've got that little tiny boost to get you going in Gloom, and then Vileplume goes nuts and puts energy everywhere, and that's what I'm thinking. I am again going to very tentatively give these 4 Wossies. I think these could genuinely, legitimately be cards that give you an engine for energy acceleration, and that's honestly kind of ridiculous, and I absolutely love it. That's what I think. I want to know what you think about this and about all of the other cards we've looked at today, so go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Chelsea Rose, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is our biggest supporter and is a very lovely person. So, yeah. Shout out to Chelsea Rose for being awesome. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.